Have you ever looked at a woman and thought, "She's perfect. She could never hurt me," only to realize later that she was slowly draining your peace, your focus, and your confidence without you even noticing? If that's ever happened to you, my friend, stay with me until the end of this video, because today we're going to expose 7 hidden signs that reveal her completely. These are the signs Marcus Aurelius himself would warn every man to watch for. So before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and stay with me till the end, because what you're about to learn could completely change your love life forever. Now let's build a little context before jumping into the core of it. Marcus Aurelius, the last great Stoic emperor, spent his life surrounded by power, politics, betrayal, and people pretending to be what they were not. Yet he mastered one thing: the ability to see people as they truly are, not as he wanted them to be. He once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." And that's what you must understand when it comes to women, relationships, and emotional control. Most men lose not because women are deceptive, but because men refuse to see clearly. So today, let's break through the illusions. Let's uncover the 7 hidden signs that expose her completely, signs that Marcus Aurelius would tell you to run from the moment you see them. 1. She treats your calm as weakness. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you started ignoring your own peace just to keep them happy? You tell yourself, "I'll stay calm, I'll be patient, I won't react. Maybe then she'll see how much I love her." But instead of appreciating your peace, she begins to twist it. She looks at your calmness and says things like, "You don't care enough. You're too cold. Why don't you ever fight for me?" And before you know it, you're sitting there, questioning yourself, wondering if your silence is the problem. Let's be real, brother. Most men have been there. You love her, you don't want to argue, and you think staying calm will make things better. But here's the truth. Some women don't understand peace. They mistake it for weakness. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man named Daniel. He met a woman who was full of fire, the kind of energy that makes your heart race. At first he admired it. She was passionate, unpredictable, exciting. But as time passed, Daniel started noticing something strange. Whenever he stayed calm during arguments, she became more aggressive. Whenever he spoke softly, she raised her voice. And whenever he tried to walk away from drama, she'd chase after him saying, "You don't even care about me, do you?" Daniel thought his calmness would show strength, but to her, it looked like indifference. So he started doing what most men do when they feel misunderstood. He tried harder. He started reacting, defending himself, raising his voice just to prove he cared. But every time he reacted, she gained more control. That's when Daniel realized something powerful. Her peace wasn't built on love. It was built on chaos. And here's where most men fall. They think love means emotional surrender. But the truth is, when a woman mistakes your calm for weakness, she's showing you that she thrives on emotional reaction, not connection. You see, a woman who truly values you will feel safe in your calmness. She'll see your silence as emotional maturity, not emotional distance. But a woman who feeds off chaos will see your calm as a challenge. She'll start testing you, pushing boundaries, just to see if she can make you break. And when you finally lose your cool, she'll look at you and say, "See, I knew you didn't care." It's a psychological trap. And many men spend years stuck in it. Let's pause here for a second. Think about your past. Think about that one woman who used to test your patience. You tried to love her through her storms, didn't you? You thought that if you stayed calm enough, she'd finally feel your love. But what happened? She didn't calm down. She turned up the chaos. That's because she didn't want your peace. She wanted your reaction. Your reaction gives her power. Your calm takes it away. Marcus Aurelius once said that a man's true strength lies in his ability to remain still while others lose control. And that's what Stoicism teaches us. Your peace is not a lack of passion. It's proof of your power. When a woman treats your calm as weakness, she's not seeing your strength. She's projecting her insecurity. Because peace scares people who live in emotional storms. So here's what you need to understand, my friend. You don't need to explain your calm. You don't need to argue or prove your love. The right woman will feel your peace and soften into it. The wrong one will try to destroy it, just to feel in control. And the moment you notice that, run, because the second you start trading your peace to prove your worth, you've already lost the battle. A stoic man doesn't chase emotional storms. He observes them and walks away. So if you're sitting there right now remembering a time when your calmness was called coldness, I want you to remember this. Your calm was never the problem. It was her chaos that couldn't handle it. The man who can stay calm when the world tests him is the man every woman respects, but only a few truly understand. And that's your power. Never give it away. A woman like this will make you feel responsible for her happiness, her moods, even her mistakes. But the stoic man understands. Love is not supposed to feel like punishment. When someone constantly plays the victim, they slowly train you to be the savior. But that's not love. That's manipulation disguised as pain. Here's the hard truth most men don't want to face. If she never apologizes, if she always finds a way to make you feel guilty, if every argument ends with you comforting her, then you're not in a relationship. You're in an emotional circus. And every day you stay, you lose a piece of yourself trying to rescue someone who doesn't want to be healed. A woman who refuses accountability will never grow because her ego won't let her. She'll repeat the same emotional patterns, blaming everyone around her, never realizing she's the common factor in every storm. The stoic way isn't to hate her or to fight her. It's to see clearly. Once you recognize that her victimhood is her shield, you stop trying to break it. You simply walk away with your peace intact. Because the strongest move a man can make is not to argue, not to defend, but to detach. So if you've ever found yourself being the constant bad guy in a story you didn't write, understand this. You can't save someone who finds power in being broken. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to let her be the victim without you playing the savior. Because the moment you stop carrying her emotional baggage, you'll finally remember what it feels like to walk freely again. And that, my friend, is real power, the kind Marcus Aurelius wrote about, the kind that comes from knowing what's yours to fix and what's not. 3. She loves drama more than peace. Have you ever loved a woman who made peace feel boring? The kind of woman who couldn't sit in silence without turning it into a storm, who needed chaos just to feel alive. You'd spend days trying to keep things calm, choosing your words carefully, doing everything right. And still, somehow, she'd find a reason to start a fight. You'd go to bed thinking, finally, we're good. And wake up to a text like, I had a dream you cheated on me and now I'm angry. Sound familiar? If you've ever been with a woman who loves drama more than peace, you already know it's not love that keeps her interested. It's emotional chaos. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Rehan, grounded, disciplined, calm. He wasn't the loudest man in the room, but he had a quiet strength that drew people to him. When he met a woman named Alina, he was captivated by her energy. She was spontaneous, full of emotion, and made him feel things he hadn't felt in years. At first it was exciting. She'd send long texts about how deeply she felt for him, how she couldn't stop thinking about him. But slowly, the sweetness turned into tension. One night, out of nowhere, she snapped at him for not replying fast enough. Another day, she accused him of losing interest just because he didn't post her on social media. And every time he tried to reason with her, she'd twist it, saying, "You don't understand me." Rehan tried to stay calm. He thought if he just loved her harder, she'd stop creating these storms. But he was wrong. Because for Alina, peace was uncomfortable. She didn't know how to exist without emotional chaos. She needed the highs and lows to feel connected. And that's what many men fail to see. Some women are not addicted to love. They're addicted to drama disguised as passion. They confuse intensity with intimacy. They believe love has to hurt to be real. You could give her your loyalty, your time, your presence. But if it doesn't come with conflict, she starts to feel bored. So she'll test you, push your buttons, provoke you, withdraw affection, all just to see if she still has emotional control over you. And when you finally react, when you raise your voice or lose your patience, she smiles inside. Not because she's happy, but because now she feels something again. That's the dangerous cycle of a woman who loves drama more than peace. And here's the worst part. The more you try to calm her, the more chaotic she becomes. Because your calmness reminds her of everything she doesn't have inside. Balance, control, and self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." But when your calm mind meets her restless soul, she feels powerless. And people who fear peace will always create chaos to feel powerful again. Now I want you to pause for a moment and think. How many times have you confused emotional chaos for passion? How many times have you mistaken drama for deep connection? We've all been there. You tell yourself, this is just how love feels. It's intense, unpredictable, consuming. But brother, that's not love. That's emotional instability. Real love is peaceful. It doesn't drain you. It centers you. When a woman truly loves you, she protects your calm, not challenges it. She won't turn every misunderstanding into a war. She won't weaponize your silence. She won't crave your anger. She'll crave your presence. But a woman addicted to drama, she'll keep poking your peace until she finds chaos again. Because deep down, she's scared of stillness. It forces her to face herself. And the tragic part, these women often don't even realize it. They believe they want love, but what they actually want is emotional stimulation. They chase the adrenaline rush of conflict, thinking it's passion, but it's really pain repeating itself. The Stoic man, however, learns to recognize this pattern. He doesn't react. He doesn't fight every battle. He simply observes and understands, this is not my storm to calm. Because the moment you let her pull you into her chaos, you lose your peace, and once your peace is gone, you become trapped in her emotional cycle. So remember this, a woman who truly values you will guard your peace. A woman who fears losing control will destroy it. And that's the test. If she loves peace, she'll build it with you. If she loves drama, she'll find chaos even in paradise. So ask yourself honestly, are you loving her? Or are you surviving her? Because love shouldn't feel like walking through fire every day just to prove it's real. It should feel like coming home after a storm, calm, safe, and steady. And if she keeps lighting fires just to see how far you'll burn, it's time to walk away before she turns your peace into ashes. For she competes with you, not supports you. Have you ever loved a woman who made you feel like you were in a competition, not a partnership? Where every time you achieved something, instead of celebrating you, she subtly compared, downplayed, or redirected it back to herself. If you've ever felt that silent tension, that invisible scorecard between you and the woman you love, then you already know how draining it feels. Because love isn't supposed to feel like rivalry. It's supposed to feel like teamwork. Let me tell you a story that might sound painfully familiar. There was a man named Hamza, focused, ambitious, and full of dreams. He wasn't born rich, but he had something stronger, vision. He worked hard every single day, and slowly he began to see results. When he met Maya, she admired him for that. She loved his ambition, his discipline, his drive. In the beginning, she would say things like, "You inspire me. I've never met a man like you." But somewhere along the line, admiration turned into competition. When Hamza bought a new car, she'd say, "Must be nice. I work hard too, but no one rewards me." When he stayed late to build his business, she'd sigh, "You care more about your work than me." And when people praised him, she'd find a way to turn it around. "You think you're better than everyone now, don't you?" At first, Hamza brushed it off. He thought, she's just joking. Maybe she's feeling insecure. But as time passed, it became clear Maya didn't want to walk beside him. She wanted to keep up with him. And that's when Hamza realized something profound. He was in a relationship, but he wasn't in a partnership. See, when a woman starts competing with you, it's no longer love, it's ego warfare. And ego doesn't build connection. It builds distance, because in her mind, every win you have reminds her of what she doesn't. Every success you achieve becomes proof or not of your strength, but of her lack. She begins to resent your confidence, question your focus, and secretly hopes for you to stumble, just so she can feel equal again. Sound familiar? The truth is, a woman like this doesn't want a strong man. She wants a man she can match or outshine. But when love turns into comparison, no one wins. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one," and that's exactly what Hamza decided to do. He stopped explaining himself. He stopped dimming his light to make her comfortable. He stopped apologizing for his ambition, because he realized a man shouldn't shrink himself to protect someone else's insecurity. A real woman won't feel threatened by your strength. She'll feel safe in it. She'll see your success as our success. She'll celebrate your wins and push you to go even higher, not compete with you to prove she's enough. And here's what's crazy. When you're with a woman who competes with you, you'll start competing too. Not because you want to, but because you're forced into proving your worth constantly. You'll start walking on emotional eggshells, questioning whether your achievements will make her pull away. You'll start hiding your progress just to avoid her silent resentment. And slowly, your confidence will fade. That's how quiet emotional competition destroys a man. Not all at once, but through small emotional cuts over time. So, brother, let me ask you something personal. Has your woman ever made you feel guilty for growing? Has she ever turned your success into an argument instead of a celebration? If yes, then you already know what it's like to love someone who's not cheering for you, but competing with you. The Stoics teach that strength is not just about conquering the world, it's about mastering yourself. And sometimes mastering yourself means walking away from relationships that make you feel less than when you should feel inspired. Because the woman meant for you won't compete with your purpose. She'll align with it. She'll push you when you're tired, remind you who you are when you forget, and never see your success as a threat, but as proof of what you both can build together. Remember this, a woman who competes with you wants to win over you. A woman who supports you wants to win with you. And that difference makes all the difference. So if you ever find yourself in a relationship where you feel like you have to choose between your success and her happiness, choose your peace, because the right woman won't ask you to slow down your greatness. She'll help you reach it faster. And if she can't handle your light, let her stay in the shadows she created. 5. She tests you to see how much pain you'll tolerate. Have you ever loved someone so much that you found yourself excusing their behavior over and over again? You told yourself, maybe she didn't mean it, or she'll change her. But deep down you felt that quiet ache. that voice inside whispering, "Something isn't right." That's where most men fail. Not because they're weak, but because they're loyal. They keep giving chances to a woman who keeps testing how much pain they can take before they finally walk away. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that's exactly what's at stake here. When a woman tests your boundaries through pain, emotional, mental, or even silent manipulation, what she's really testing is your control over yourself. Let's go back to a story I know many men will relate to. There was a man named Daniel, calm, thoughtful, and genuine. He met a woman who seemed perfect. She laughed at his jokes, admired his dreams, and made him feel like he was finally seen after years of being overlooked. But slowly, that love turned into something darker. At first, her tests were subtle, ignoring his messages to see if he'd chase, starting little arguments just to watch his reaction. He thought it was just her being emotional. But with every argument, every guilt trip, she learned something powerful, how far she could go before he would break. It's not that she was evil. She was testing the limits of his love. And Daniel, like many men, thought passing those tests meant proving his love. He didn't realize that every time he tolerated disrespect, she respected him a little less. Tell me honestly, how many times have you let something slide because you didn't want to lose her? How many nights did you stay awake replaying her words, thinking maybe I overreacted? You see, these tests aren't about love, they're about control. A woman who truly values you will never find satisfaction in your suffering. She'll challenge you to grow, yes, but not by breaking your spirit. The toxic one, however, measures love by endurance. She believes that the more pain you can handle, the more loyal you are. But that's not loyalty. That's emotional slavery. And here's the dangerous part. The longer you stay, the more numb you become. What once hurt you deeply starts to feel normal. You start thinking that maybe you deserve it, that maybe this is just how relationships are. But brother, Marcus Aurelius would have told you, and the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Daniel learned this lesson the hard way. One night, after another argument about something meaningless, maybe a message. He didn't reply to fast enough, she told him. I just wanted to see if you'd fight for me. And that's when it clicked for him. She wasn't testing his love. She was testing his limits. He realized something profound. A man's strength isn't proven by how much pain he can tolerate, but by how quickly he recognizes what doesn't serve his peace. The Stoics taught that no external thing, not even love, should have the power to destroy your inner calm when you allow someone to repeatedly hurt you. So let me ask you this. If you're watching this right now and you're in that position, constantly proving your worth, walking on eggshells, or trying to earn back her affection, what do you think she's learning? She's learning that you'll stay no matter how much she hurts you. But what if, for once, you didn't respond? What if you became silent? What if you showed her that your peace, your purpose, and your self-respect mean more than winning her approval? That's when everything changes. The tests stop. Because she realizes she can't manipulate a man who doesn't need validation. You see, the Stoic man doesn't chase chaos. He guards his calm like a fortress. He doesn't react emotionally because he knows the truth. When a woman has to test your love through pain, she doesn't understand love herself. And I'll tell you something else. When you walk away from that kind of woman, it hurts at first. It feels empty. You'll replay memories, moments, laughter. You'll question whether you made a mistake. But then peace begins to return. Slowly your mind clears. You start to feel free again. And that's when you realize peace was never too much to ask. You were just asking the wrong person. If she's constantly testing your patience, your worth, or your love, remember this. It's not your job to pass her tests. It's your job to protect your soul. As Marcus Aurelius would remind us, the best revenge is to be unlike your enemy. So be unlike the chaos. Be still, be grounded. Be the man who refuses to trade his peace for temporary affection. Because a woman who needs to hurt you to feel secure will never bring you peace, only storms. And a man who has mastered himself never drowns in storms. He walks through them, calm, unshaken, and stronger than before. So the next time she tests you, don't argue. Don't explain. Don't prove. Just smile quietly and walk away. Because the moment you stop participating in her chaos, you pass the only test that matters, the test of emotional strength. 6. She uses her beauty to manipulate you. Have you ever looked at a woman and thought, she's perfect? There's no way she could do me wrong. Her beauty disarms you. Her smile melts your defenses. And before you even realize it, you're no longer thinking logically, you're feeling. And in that moment, you're vulnerable. This is where many strong men lose themselves. Not because they're weak, but because beauty has a power that blinds even the sharpest minds. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." He understood something timeless, that appearance can deceive, and that attachment to beauty can destroy a man's judgment. Let me tell you a story that might sound a little too familiar. There was a man named Adrian, calm, confident, successful. He had everything under control, but then he met her. She was stunning. The kind of beauty that makes you forget your words. Every man in the room looked at her, but she only looked at him. Or so he thought. At first she made him feel like a king. Compliments, laughter, long messages that made him smile like a teenager again. He couldn't believe how lucky he was, but slowly things began to shift. She started using that same beauty, not to connect, but to control. Whenever he disagreed with her, she'd change her tone, soften her eyes, touch his hand and whisper, "Come on, don't be mad at me." Whenever he tried to set a boundary, she'd pull away emotionally or post something just to make him jealous. And every time his heart would bend before his mind could catch up. Sound familiar? How many times have you ignored your gut because she looked so good? You couldn't imagine her being wrong. How many times did you let her cross your boundaries because you didn't want to ruin the vibe? This is the oldest game in human nature. Beauty used as a weapon. It's not always conscious, but it's powerful. She knows her presence pulls you in. She knows your emotions shift when she pouts, smiles, or dresses a certain way. And once she learns that, she knows exactly how to get what she wants. Marcus Aurelius warned that the body, and the pleasures attached to it, are fleeting illusions. He said, "Consider how soon everything is forgotten. The world itself is change, and life is but opinion." He meant that chasing appearances leads only to pain, because beauty fades, but character remains. Adrian realized this the hard way. One night, after another argument about nothing, she texted him a photo of herself. No apology, no accountability, just beauty. And instantly his anger dissolved. He forgave her again. But deep down, he knew what had just happened. He hadn't forgiven her out of love. He'd surrendered because her beauty had become his weakness. You see, that's how emotional manipulation works. It doesn't always shout or scream. Sometimes it just smiles at you, knowing you won't say no. And here's the truth most men don't want to admit. Beauty has a strange way of making us justify bad behavior. We'll say things like, "She's just emotional," or "She didn't mean it," because our minds can't align her outer beauty with inner toxicity. But my friend, this is where Stoicism saves you. It teaches you to see clearly, to separate what is pleasing to the eye from what is true to the soul. A woman who uses her beauty to manipulate is like a flame, mesmerizing, warm, but capable of burning everything you've built. She thrives when you lose control, when you forget your worth, when you start thinking that her validation is oxygen. But remember this, a man who depends on her attention for his peace has already lost his power. Real strength is when you can look at beauty and not become a slave to it. When you can admire it but not obey it. When you can say no, not because you don't desire her, but because you respect yourself more. Think about your own experiences, that one woman you couldn't say no to, the one who knew exactly how to smile when you were angry, the one who could twist your emotions with a look. Did that ever end in peace? Or did you end up drained, confused, questioning your own worth? That's what happens when beauty controls reason. And once a man gives that control away, he's no longer in love. He's addicted to a fantasy that never truly loved him back. Adrian eventually woke up. He realized that every time he forgave her, it wasn't because she was right. It was because he was scared to lose something beautiful. But then he understood. Beauty that costs you your peace is too expensive. When he finally walked away, she was shocked. She tried everything: tears, charm, nostalgia. But he had seen through the illusion. For the first time, he wasn't reacting to her looks. He was responding to her actions. And that changed everything. That's what Stoicism gives you: clarity, the ability to look beyond the surface. To ask, does this person feed my soul or just feed my desire? So if you ever find yourself trapped by someone's beauty, remember, the real test isn't whether she can keep your attention. It's whether you can keep your focus when her beauty tries to distract you from the truth. Because the Stoic man doesn't fall for appearances, he observes them. He doesn't chase charm, he seeks character. He knows that beauty may open the door, but integrity is what keeps someone inside. And once you master that mindset, you'll see the difference between a woman who shines to inspire you and one who shines to blind you. So if she uses her beauty to manipulate you, don't try to outplay her. Don't argue. Don't beg. Just smile, stand tall, and walk away. 7. She pulls you away from your purpose. When was the last time you felt truly focused on your goals, your craft, your mission? And now be honest, how many times has love, or what you thought was love, slowly distracted you from it? We've all been there. You meet someone who feels like sunshine after a long storm. You start spending more time with her, and suddenly your habits change. The gym sessions, you skip a few. The project you were working on, it's no longer exciting. The silence you once cherished. To think and grow, it's now replaced with endless conversations, drama, or emotional confusion. And before you even realize it, you're no longer living your purpose. You're living for her. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." He believed that a man who loses sight of his purpose, his reason for being, loses himself entirely. And that's exactly what happens when a woman pulls you away from your purpose. Let me tell you a story that might sound painfully familiar. There was a man named Ethan. He was passionate, disciplined, and deeply focused. He had a dream to start his own business. He worked late nights, studied every day, and cut out distractions. And then she came into his life. At first, it felt perfect. She admired his drive, loved his ambition. She'd tell her friends, "He's so focused. I love that about him." But slowly things began to shift. She started saying things like, "You're always working," or "Why can't you just relax and spend more time with me?" When he'd say he needed to focus, she'd pout or withdraw emotionally, making him feel guilty, as if choosing his purpose was choosing against her. And because he cared, he started compromising, skipping his plans, rescheduling his routines just to make her happy. And every time he did that, she grew more comfortable, and he grew more distant from the man he once was. Sound familiar? Maybe you've had that one woman who slowly made you feel like your passion was a problem. The one who made you believe that time spent improving yourself was neglect. But here's the truth, brother. The moment you allow someone to make you feel guilty for chasing your purpose, you've already surrendered your power. A woman who truly loves you will never compete with your mission. She'll walk beside it. She'll respect your focus, even when it means less attention for her. But a woman who fears losing control over you will try to replace your mission with herself. She'll create little emotional storms that pull you back every time you try to move forward. One day it's drama. The next day it's silence. Then tears, guilt, or passive aggression. Not because she wants to destroy you, but because she wants to make sure she remains your center. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were your last." That means live with intent. Every day wasted on drama is a day stolen from your destiny. Ethan eventually learned that the hard way. He looked in the mirror one morning and didn't recognize himself. The driven man was gone. He'd become reactive, tired, uncertain. That's when it hit him. He had allowed love to turn into distraction. So, he did something powerful. He didn't argue, didn't fight, didn't beg. He simply chose silence. He told her, "I need to get back to who I am." And for the first time in years, he worked in peace. She called, texted, cried, "You're different now." And he said, "No, I'm finally myself again." That's when he understood. Woman who loves you for your potential will never pull you away from it. But one who fears losing you will always try to distract you from becoming that version of yourself. Now think about your own life. Has there ever been a time when you stopped chasing your goals because you were too busy chasing her approval? Did she ever make you feel like your purpose was selfish? If so, she wasn't your partner, she was your test. The Stoics believed that every test of distraction is a chance to practice discipline. They taught that the highest form of love is not found in obsession, but in respect. Respect for each other's paths, dreams, and peace. Because the truth is, if a woman truly loves a man, she wants to see him rise. She doesn't fear his focus. She admires it. She doesn't crave all his time. She wants his presence when it's earned through purpose. But if she pulls you away from your growth, mocks your vision, or makes you feel guilty for working on yourself, she's not building with you. She's breaking your foundation quietly. Remember this, every great man you admire, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they all warned against being consumed by passion. Not because love is wrong, but because when love becomes distraction, it becomes dangerous. They knew that a man's peace, power, and legacy come from alignment with his purpose. Without it, he's just a leaf, drifting wherever emotion takes him. Ethan eventually found peace again. He rebuilt his discipline, restarted his business, and with time, success followed. But more importantly, he learned this one lesson that I want you to take to heart. The woman who truly belongs in your life will never make you choose between her and your purpose. She will help you balance both. So if she's pulling you away from your mission, stop chasing. Stop convincing, stop apologizing for being focused. Because the woman who tries to distract you from your purpose is afraid of the man you'll become once you fulfill it. And the Stoic man knows the path to greatness is lonely sometimes, but peace is better than chaos dressed as love. So protect your mission, guard your focus, and let your silence speak for you. Because when your purpose calls, no relationship, no emotion, no beauty is worth missing that call. Final thoughts. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And that's what this video is truly about. Not women, but you. Because when you master yourself, these signs become impossible to ignore. You'll feel them in your gut before your mind catches up. You'll walk away from manipulation not with anger, but with clarity. So the next time you see these signs, remember, it's not your job to fix her. It's your duty to protect yourself. And the strongest thing a man can ever do is walk away from what disturbs his peace. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.